Proceed.
This is the type of vermin Cinderella claimed to have been able to speak to. I'll ask the vermin a couple questions and see if he's able to respond as Cinderella claims. Now, have you ever spoken to Cinderella? Did you assist Cinderella in stealing the beating from Drizella and Anastasia's room?
As the court can see, animals do not talk, and the plaintiff Cinderella is exhibiting signs of mental instability. Now, Anastasia, please continue with your story. I believe you were discussing the fact that your sister Drizella were assigned chores as well as Cinderella. Please continue.
Drizella and I just always managed to finish before her, and that's why we were allowed to go to the ball. And yes, Drizella and I may have had other interests and done other things, but Cinderella's claim that she was treated unequally is just wrong. She never liked to play piano, and she liked to sing, but she's always been so much better than my sister and I that she didn't need lessons. She may have done separate and different activities, but it was always what she wanted to do.
So, even though the plaintiff, Cinderella, claims that Lady Tremaine treated her unfairly when compared to you and your sister, Drizella, she actually received the same treatment?
Definitely. Drizella and I are accustomed to our mother's expectations. With that being said, we understand that what our mother expects of us. And Cinderella, I guess, never really got used to it. We'd never dream of sneaking out of the house, and Cinderella did, so she faced punishment. We never stole her clothes, but she stole ours. Just because Cinderella got punished, it doesn't mean that our mother treated us unfairly. Cinderella just needed more reprimanding than my sister and I. We all got to do what we enjoyed. Cinderella played with the animals, and Drizella and I took singing lessons.
Your Honor, I would like to bring the court's attention to the Plessy versus Ferguson case in which the Supreme Court ruled that separate but equal treatment was constitutional. In regards to Cinderella and the defendant, Lady Tremaine, the treatment by the defendant towards the plaintiff was indeed separate but equal, as all the children under Lady Tremaine's care were provided food, clothing, and shelter. Also, all children were tasked and expected to finish chores. According to the witness Anastasia's testimony, Cinderella's inability to complete her chores set forth by her guardian was the reason her treatment seemed unfair compared to that of her stepsisters, rather than Lady Tremaine's neglect. Thank you, Anastasia. That is all I have for you now. Your Honor, I request to call my next witness, Drizella.
Permission granted. Please put your left hand on the Bible. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and the whole truth, so help you God?
I affirm.
Now, Drizella, do you believe that your mother is innocent?
Yes. My mother is innocent of all charges. There's hardly any evidence to prove it, and what little evidence that the prosecution does have, they just came into our house to take. No one ever asked her anything. They just showed up at our door to arrest my mother, and when they did, they ran up the stairs to where Cinderella told them that she stayed. They took the old dress that she said that she wore to the ball and some of her other clothes. Then they took some papers that Cinderella had written her chores on each day, and then they never even asked us. It was ridiculous. They took my book of lyrics for voice lessons also and never asked, which means I'm dreadfully behind. I just don't understand how they could take our things when they arrested my mom without even asking. Cinderella just marched right on up the stairs with the police and pointed to all the things that she said represented the harsh treatment she received from her stepmother. All of their evidence is just stolen from us, and Cinderella probably just told them to take the things that would make my mother look bad. Courts do that, you know. I just don't think it's fair to steal our things and then turn around and try and make us look guilty.
So you're telling me that the authorities came to your castle without a warrant, entered without your permission, took your property as well as that of your family, and proceeded to arrest your mother?
Yes, I still can't believe it. It was quite a horrific day.
And when they apprehended your mother, were her Miranda rights read to her?
No, I don't think they thought anything of it. They were all too busy with satisfying Cinderella, the new princess. Cinderella lives with Prince Charming now, and I don't understand why all of a sudden she wants to blame my mother for things. If my mother was truly evil, she would have just kicked Cinderella out of the house and not taken care of her when her father died. But no, we took her in, even though we'd hardly known her, and let her stay with us. And now she's so ungrateful as to the treatment she received. Being a princess has obviously just gotten to her head. She's so wrong to think that she can just waltz in onto the house and order whatever she wants taken out as evidence just because there's a crown at the front of her yellow bun. I just can't even stand that girl.
Thank you, Drizella. I would like to bring the court's attention to several points. First and foremost, does the action of Lady Tremaine, the carrying of Cinderella's father's passing, sound like the actions of an evil woman? The actions of Lady Tremaine are at the very least kind-hearted and of good intentions. More importantly, however, is the behavior of the authorities when obtaining evidence and arresting the defendant, Lady Tremaine. The police officers who entered the Tremaine castle entered without a warrant, which is a violation of the family's Fourth Amendment right, which protects them from unlawful search and seizure. Even after arrest, which was also conducted in an unlawful manner, it was still a violation of the defendant's Fourth Amendment right, according to the ruling of Tremaine versus California Supreme Court case, in which rules that arresting officers cannot search beyond the immediate area in which the arrest occurred, which, in this case, according to the witness's testimony, was on the stairs of the Tremaine Castle, thus violating both the ruling of the aforementioned case and the Tremaine family's Fourth Amendment rights. Because of the unlawful manner in which this evidence was obtained, it is inadmissible in this court and any other court of law pursuant to the Matt versus Ohio case, which prohibits the use of any unlawfully gathered evidence in any court, both federal and state, due to the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. Finally, we come to the blatant violation of the defendant's Fifth Amendment right that protects against self-incrimination. Because the arresting officers did not read her Miranda rights, it violates the Fifth Amendment right as well as the ruling of the case in which the rights were named, Miranda versus Arizona, in which the arresting officer did not inform Miranda that he had the rights that protected him against self-incrimination.
Is that all, Mr. Hooper?
Yes, Your Honor. I rest my case.
Do you have any closing points you would like to make to the court and the jury?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. People of the court, what you've witnessed here today is a case in which my client, Lady Tremaine, has been wrongfully accused and tried in court due to the claims of a mentally unstable girl. In short, the claims that Lady Tremaine treated the plaintiff Cinderella in a cruel and unusual manner is completely ludicrous, as Lady Tremaine has neither the right nor the ability to prescribe such punishments, as she is not a justice of the Supreme Court. Even if the defendant was, her punishment fell in line with the various rulings of the Supreme Court that would thus qualify them as neither cruel nor unusual. The claim that Cinderella was forced into servitude by Lady Tremaine is completely unfounded, as Cinderella had both the ability and the means to leave the Tremaine's care. In addition to this, both Lady Tremaine's daughters were treated with the same chores as Cinderella, making the treatment by Tremaine equal between the three children. The evidence against my clients was gathered in an unlawful fashion and thus invalidates any claims against the defendant, not to mention that the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights were infringed upon when the arresting officer failed to give her Miranda rights. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, I plead that you give in to reason and find my client not guilty of the charges against her, as she is merely a woman whose rights have been violated by both the claimant Cinderella and the police officers that arrested Tremaine and gathered evidence against her. Thank you.